And this is not the Barbie movie, y'all. There is
Yeah,
a
this is not the Barbie movie.
documentary.
Yeah,
Right.
it's the
There's a
Netflix
documentary on
documentary.
Netflix now. It's a documentary on Netflix about the history of Black Barbie. Can we play the trailer, or are we gonna get in trouble?
I,
You have to clip
I
it.
mean, we'll see. I don't know what, you know what I don't know what will happen. The last time they took the live down, and then I had to just remove it and put the live back up. So we could either play it and reward our live audience.
Let's play the trailer. Play the trailer.
All right, here we
Decide.
go.
A few moments later.
So y'all, I watched this. I do doing my Netflix searches. I watched the documentary, and I feel like pre-Jared, I might have been like, oh, this is like a cool little cute documentary about like how the Black Barbie became a thing. Post-Jared, I was like, what is this nonsense? What? And I was just mad through the whole thing, rolling my eyes, and because it's all about the wrong thing, which is how important representation is. In the end, that's what it came down to. Like, somebody asked, why do I hate myself? I do, putting myself through these tortures. But it's literally, when it boils down to it, it is literally all about representation and how important it is for little plastic things to have brown skin and the right type of hair. And it's just...
And they hit, so this is again why, I mean, I can appreciate the advanced sophistication of these products, because they hit a lot of the core themes. Inclusion, representation, citizenship, personhood, Black beauty, Black womanhood. I mean, they hit all of they even saw in the clip there, the sister crying, you know, at having to survive racism and a lack of representation. So it's
she was a beauty pageant, right? Wasn't it a beauty pageant?
That part I don't remember. I just remember because the note I have,
I think she was a Miss America or something, I think.
Okay. That she had been moved out of a Black community into a white one, and
right,
you know, something that where she's through her tears, I quoted it here. She says, "Black Barbies did a lot for me," and so my version of the deep dive. So initially, I just said this is a Mattel commercial. At one point, it becomes a Kamala Harris commercial. It becomes a Democratic Party commercial. They even have and even as we were just discussing, this is another one of the through lines I thought about that made this perfect in an addition to today's discussion, in promoting Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party, and then the hijab Barbie, as the Democrats are genocidally assaulting Muslims. I was like, this is perfect. This is you know, I was like, whoa. And she's like the new one. She's the hot new, we made it through the Blackness. Now we have the hijab Barbie. And she's in there like, I never saw me. I used to have to put hijabs on all my dolls when I was a kid. And now I have my own. And I'm like, and at no point are any of these connections being made. And just very quickly, I hadn't even gotten this far until just a moment ago. But just very quickly, Mattel is itself owned by several large shareholders, including EdgePoint Investment, Vanguard, and BlackRock, which own everything. And Ron Kreitz is the chairman and chief executive officer. And then when you look up that EdgePoint team that owns Mattel, who ultimately this Black Barbie thing is a commercial for, under the tab on their website for your team, meet your team at EdgePoint. This is your team. This is this is who owns Mattel and has this black Barbie as commercial for them. So
wait,
I mean,
where's it? Wait, scroll back through there. Where's the dude that was all? Where I want to know the dude who's all about Barbie Roberts from Brooklyn. Is he not on that list?
Well, no, this wouldn't be. So this is the This is EdgePoint.
Oh,
This is
gotcha,
the major
gotcha.
investor of Mattel. So I just wanted. I wanted to see like who's really making, because that's who's really making the money off of this. But no, I didn't. Oh wow, I didn't see that comment you just highlighted.
I know. I'm not gonna. I can't say it, but that's wild.
Okay. Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah. The hijab Barbie.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Deep. So
wild.
So yeah. So no, I was rushing a little bit. So what we literally were wrapping this up before the show started. So there's more we could get to, but it was just I just wanted to quickly look at who benefits most at the end of the day, despite the discussion centering around how black women benefit and black people benefit. The real beneficiaries are Mattel, who, when they bring in the brown-skinned CEO, or not CEO, but some executive,
the dude. That's who I was talking about. He's talking about the dude.
Yeah, who was like who works for Mattel, right? And he was talking about, because he said basically it's no more diverse now than it was back in the day.
And I found this whole Barbie from Brooklyn thing very, very fascinating. So this is the part that you haven't gotten to, because it's at the end.
Oh my God!
So the new the new storyline is that there's Malibu Barbie, who is Barbie Roberts, and then there's Brooklyn Barbie, who is also Barbie Roberts. And there's there's like a movie about these two Barbies. Like, I think they go to college together or something. And what's fascinating is one of the parents who is, interviewed as part of this documentary is pointing out how even in this movie, like Malibu Barbie is completely inept in comparison to Brooklyn Barbie, right? Like, she doesn't do any of the things as well as Brooklyn Barbie does them, but somehow she's like on the same level of all things with Brooklyn Barbie, even though she's not as good in anything, right? And so, but he says something as he's talking about how important this is, right? Because Brooklyn Barbie's about to get her own thing. Like, she's going to be the star of a series, and the co-star of a TV series. And, all these things are going to come out to support like this Brooklyn Barbie thing. And he says, race matters, and sustained pace that is achievable and shows market impact is better than a moment in time. And his job is, if he could just move it a little further, just a little bit, then he's doing his job. That's the goal.
Perfect.
Just move it a little bit, just a little bit.
No, that's perfect, because so at one point earlier, I didn't know who said it, but somebody makes the point about something similar to that, but at the level of dreams, where she says that there's power, that the power to dream first requires having seen what you are to dream about. So she's saying that without being given the image of a black Barbie, black girls and women can't even dream about what to aspire to. And I would say, and my note was that, I made a note about the dream catcher, puns intended, that their goal with psychological warfare is to implant the dreams that you would then dream about and claim that you've dreamed about and then decided to move on your own. So she's acknowledging in some way, in her own twisted way, what marketing would desire, certainly psychological warfare would desire, but this idea that they could implant what it is you would desire, and then you would go and chase it, even at the level of supposedly unconscious dreams. So that part was, so I'm not surprised. I don't know. That's wild.
I mean, it's deep, and it really, I mean, and they brought out some hard hitters for this one. They brought out Maxine Waters.
Oh yeah.
They brought out Shonda Rhimes.
So this is Shonda Rhimes, and then they said she's getting her own Barbie. That Shonda. So one of the notes I made. So this is like another of the Shonda Rhimes. So her becoming a Barbie itself is perfect. That. I mean, in some way, I said here it's like a long form feedback loop. That the childhood implantation, or the childhood imposing on a child the desire for a Barbie-like status, which is what the doll is meant to do, produces the adult that would then want to reproduce that in their own work, and then to have them have a Barbie made for them completes the circle. I mean, it's perfect.
It's wild,
and they even said, and remember when she acknowledged that what's her name, Kerry Washington's role in Scandal, she said what's her name was the embodiment of Barbie. So Shonda, it says in the documentary that the show that launched Shonda and Shondaland and all of her fame and all of that was itself a representation of her childhood affinity for a Black Barbie. And so if I can, there's a couple things, because I went into my own little, because of some work that I'm doing. I just want to show this one, because one of the issues that I'm really dealing with is in my own limited work is the relationship in how power is being defined or misdefined, and why is if it's and why so many other forms of power are claimed. So in this book by her last name is Halliday, Professor Halliday, called By Black, How Black Women Transformed Pop Culture, she talks about a little bit of Black women's involvement historically with Barbie and Black women executives in producing Barbie and other pop cultural phenomena, even working for Coca-Cola and other things. But I thought this one page sort of encompasses what I think is so much of the problem, and what I'm not even entirely sure I understand about Halliday's argument. So just very quickly, she says here that the argument that marginalized people make for greater inclusion as a response to historical erasure is usually made at the level of visibility, partially because finally seeing ourselves communicates some level of inclusion in the mainstream. We recognize the process of interpolation that happens through language and images daily, and therefore argue that seeing ourselves is important to societal acceptance. We find pleasure in language that replicates our communication styles and images that shows us even as tokens. This recognition allows us to perform differing levels of what Jose Esteban Munoz calls disidentification, recognizing the ways we do not identify with the image, even while celebrating the singular opportunity to see ourselves. Following the example of LGBTQ inclusion, while Black trans women suffer great levels of violence, the interpretive connection between visibility and marketing and real life acceptance then contextualizes the importance of niche marketing as a marker of inclusion within American citizenship for marginalized people. So in my notes about this, I don't know, I agree with what is being said there. I just don't understand. I don't know if I agree with the interpretation of the author, but that's another debate or for another time.
But this is the class. This is always. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
No. I just wanted to show one more thing, because I wanted to come back, because just to put a little bow on this point I'm struggling to make, is that what Joy James concludes in how she concludes her book on Angela Davis, that because throughout this documentary, we kept hearing about change and Black women's inclusion in the Black Barbie as change. And this is change. In one point, it's even called a quote, little revolution to have a Black Barbie. So, but this, what Joy James says about Angela Davis, I think is really powerful and relevant here. So she says that Angela Davis recognized how Marx and Engels said that the goal is not to just interpret the world, but to change it. A decade later, she, meaning Angela Davis, would converse and align with global iconic revolutionaries and rebel intellectuals over 5 decades of civil and human rights advocacy, working within the context of elite academia, Hollywood, celebrity movement, culture, publishing, media platforms, politicians. Angela Davis would both interpret and change the world. Now, again, my interpretation of what Joy James is saying there is that Davis did make change in the world, but not in the way she's often credited or symbolized to have done in any revolutionary way that certainly Marx and Engels meant, or any Black Power movement would have meant. But the change is in the way we are meant to see what change is, or is to be, or how we're meant to define change. And we're meant to see the symbolic inclusion as the change and as the substitute for the material change. And therefore it becomes a testimony against any actual revolution. And that's what I think is so slick in all of what is happening here, that the more that they offer this inclusion, the less free and the less the material condition changes, and in fact worsens. So
no,
I'll stop there, but that's, yeah.
No, but that's, I mean, at the core of it, that's really the problem, because people get so invested in this idea of representation, right? That what gets lost is that representation does not change material conditions, right? Like having a Black Barbie to go buy at a store in support of a capitalist system that exists in part to make sure that Black people don't ever achieve like true liberation, it doesn't help anything, right? Like it literally means nothing at all. And, you know, somebody said, you know, Gamandi posted this, and I was like, whew, there we go.
Yeah, Black visibility is not Black power. That's
right. So it says, Kwame Ture has a great phrase, powerless visibility. And that is exactly what we're talking about right now. Like we're literally talking about how, you know, here's this great thing that happened, and Black girls were able to see themselves on the shelves, and it changed everything. And, you know, the Miss America who was like, you know, you can kick rocks if you don't think that like Black Barbie makes a difference. But like, how did it really make a difference for you? Like it didn't change how she was treated. She went into she was like in tears talking about how bad people treated her. So obviously having a Black Barbie didn't change any of that situation.
Well,
right?
She said it helped her make it through. It was what helped her overcome. And that to me speaks to even more, not to blame her, but the insidiousness of the problem. That if you're, it's that's why Malcolm used to talk about the Novocaine of the effect of media, and why there was a whole theory in media theory of the hypodermic needle effect of media, because it's supposed to numb you to the effect. First of all, it's supposed to inject you with the ideas that numb you to the effect of having those ideas injected into you. And but that's the point, that the suffering is going to occur if those producing that suffering can also provide what alleviates your pain, but does so in such a way that you are impotent and incapable of any revolutionary response, that's the perfection. So it's when I'm seeing her crying and then looking to the salvation of Mattel's doll, oh man, it's I keep thinking of that I don't know why this is always it's like that. Do you risk drinking contaminated water if that's all that you have access to after days in a desert? That's ultimately
yes.
what,
And you do.
and that's the point. And that's the
I mean,
point.
I
And then
listed
you
that
survive,
exactly.
but you survive in a certain way.
Right.
Like
You survive
in an
sick.
unhealthy,
Right.
incapable of
sick.
change and incapable of forming, of evolving to because likely, like if you don't get, if nothing intervenes and you just subsist on that polluted water, you're eventually going to die, and you're certainly not going to be well enough to come up with a better solution. It's
Right.
it's